From an apartment block in Yugoslavia to Mar-a-Lago to the White House and beyond, Melania Trump has seen it all, and she's no stranger to tragedy either. Born in Yugoslavia in 1970, Melania Trump was raised in the small industrial town of Senica. For the first 10 years of her life, Yugoslavia was under the rule of Josip Broz Tito, and Melania's father, Victor Kunaus, was a devoted member of the League of Communists. Victor was a traveling car salesman, while Melania's mother, Umalia Kunaus, also known as Malchi, worked in a state-owned textile factory. The family lived in a small 5-story apartment block, surrounded by factory smoke, where Melania dreamed of a better life. According to those who knew her, she couldn't wait to escape her life there and embrace her newfound freedom. Mary Jordan, author of The Art of Her Deal, told CBS News, "She's a girl who grew up in a really small town and couldn't wait to get out. She told everyone that. I mean, everyone I talked to in Slovenia said she couldn't wait to get out of this town. She wanted to be where the action is." When Melania married Donald Trump years later, he reportedly promised her that she would never have to return to her homeland. The Trump family has long been plagued by affair rumors, and Donald Trump is reported to be a serial philanderer. In his 2018 book Fire and Fury, Michael Wolff alleged that Donald cheated on Melania Trump multiple times. Though the White House claimed that Wolff was lying, further cheating allegations would soon plague the Trumps. That same year, adult film actor Stormy Daniels released a memoir, Full Disclosure, in which she detailed her alleged affair with Donald in 2006. Prior to the 2016 election, she had accepted $130,000 in hush money to keep the alleged tryst a secret. Donald allegedly falsified business records to cover up the payment.
What is he? An egotistical lunatic at this point.
He was also accused of having a 10-month-long extramarital relationship with former Playboy model Karen McDougal from 2006 to 2007. When the hush money case went to trial in 2024, it was alleged Donald had still been cheating with McDougal while Melania was pregnant with Barron Trump, though it was ruled that the prosecution was not permitted to mention this in court. Melania was said to be angry about the alleged affairs, but apparently soldiered on regardless. A source told People magazine, "She is aware of who her husband is and keeps her life upbeat with her own family and a few close friends." Melania Trump has a close relationship with Barron Trump, but her pregnancy with her son came with a price. When Melania was pregnant with Barron, Donald Trump gave her an ultimatum: lose the baby weight in a week, or it's over. At the time, Donald told Howard Stern, "You know, Howard, she's got the kind of a body and makeup where about one day after the baby, it's going to be the same as it was before." When Stern asked if the business magnate was serious about his ultimatum, he replied, "I think I'll give her a week." Donald later claimed that he was joking and insisted he would love Melania no matter what. But according to insiders who spoke to Vanity Fair, he was deadly serious. One source said, "She promised him that everything would go back to the way it was. There was no, 'how do you feel?' No opening of doors, making sure she didn't fall. Just, you wanted to have a baby." Likewise, former Trump supporter Andrea Pizer wrote in the New York Post that she had been disgusted after witnessing Donald body shame his postpartum wife. As a young woman trying to get her big break in the modeling industry, Melania Trump posed nude for French magazine Max back in the mid-90s. 2 decades later, the New York Post obtained the photos and plastered them on its front page.
Oh, wow. She needs to cover up, doesn't she?
According to the book Fire and Fury, Melania was inconsolable over the leak. The Post was criticized over its salacious spread, with some suggesting that Melania had been unfairly deemed fair game for slut-shaming due to her contentious husband. Women's advocate Jennifer Siebel Newsom told Yahoo Style, "A woman's value does not lie solely in her youth, beauty, and sexuality." The New York Post's recent cover story and imagery about Melania perpetuates this limiting, sexist narrative. At the time, there were claims that Donald Trump may have leaked the photos as a distraction from his many ongoing scandals. But Melania reportedly balked at the idea. Feeling betrayed, she allegedly suspected that Roger Stone, Donald's former advisor, was the man behind the leak. Kate Bennett wrote in her book, Free Melania, the unauthorized biography. This time, the idea that Trump would throw his naked wife under the bus was almost so gross and salacious, and the photos so B-movie bad, the press ultimately spent very little time discussing them. Stone himself subsequently denied that he was in any way responsible for the leak. However you may feel about Donald Trump, it's safe to say that his young son hasn't been to blame for his innumerable controversies.
Hey, you're pretty popular. He might be more popular than Don and Eric. We got to talk about this. Hey, Don, we got to talk about this, huh?
Some dissenters disagreed, however, seeing Barron Trump as fair game for open criticism. In 2018, actor and counterculture icon Peter Fonda launched a brutal attack on Barron, then aged 12, in the wake of controversy over child migrant detention camps. He promptly deleted the offending tweet and later issued an apology. In response, Donald Trump Jr. unleashed his own personal attack on Fonda and, inexplicably, his sister Jane for her opposition to the Vietnam War almost half a century earlier. Distraught over the attack on her son, Melania Trump contacted the Secret Service. Stephanie Grisham, Melania's communications director, said, "The tweet is sick and irresponsible." Melania herself made a rare political intervention when she voiced her opposition to separating child migrants from their parents. Grisham said, "She believes we need to be a country that follows all laws, but also a country that governs with heart." 2018 was a tough year for Melania Trump, who felt the public's ire after donning her infamous "I don't care" jacket before suffering mockery over her Be Best campaign. To add to her woes, she had to be hospitalized due to kidney problems. Melania underwent an embolization, a procedure that blocks blood vessels. It's not known why Melania had to undergo the procedure, but it may have been due to a tumor or an aneurysm. Medical expert Dr. Natalie Azar told Today, "The reason to do an embolization of the kidney is to actually cut off the blood supply of one of the arteries in the kidney." Experts we consulted say the most plausible explanations are: 1. There might have been a benign tumor in the kidney, and when it gets to a certain size, it can spontaneously bleed. Or there might have been a blood vessel abnormality like an aneurysm, which can also bleed. Melania was expected to remain at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center for several days. Typically, embolization patients do not remain in hospital as long as Melania did. Speaking to USA Today, urologic surgeon Jamin Brombaut speculated that the then First Lady's longer hospital stay may have been due to her suffering from unpleasant side effects or the treatment of a particularly large tumor. Melania Trump's Eastern European lineage has been used by some critics as a means of humiliating her. In 2018, Jimmy Kimmel was criticized for mocking Melania's accent on his show, mimicking her pronunciation as she read a children's book.
These and that. Guillermo, you realize what this means? You could be First Lady of the United States.
Media publications later condemned Kimmel for the skit, with the Chicago Tribune arguing that attacks on Melania constituted attacks on all immigrants. Kimmel later apologized. In 2020, former New York Times reporter Kurt Eichenwald was furious when Melania unveiled the renovated White House Rose Garden and made a series of X posts that were deemed xenophobic. In a since-deleted post, he wrote, "It is a destruction of our history, something no other First Lady would have had the gall to do. This is the first time I have been furious that FLOTUS is a foreigner. She has no right to wreck our history." He then called Melania trashy and evil and said she needed to get out of the White House. Journalist Mehdi Hassan called out Eichenwald, tweeting, "This is a horrible anti-immigrant take, Kurt, and you should delete it and apologize." Meanwhile, left-wing journalist Lori Penny wrote in the New Statesman that xenophobic dog whistles were being justified against the then First Lady merely by virtue of her bullish husband. Though they like to project a veneer of an idealized couple, there are many signs that Donald and Melania Trump's marriage has long been on the rocks. In a 2017 Vanity Fair profile, insiders noted that Melania appears to take on the role of a dutiful and passive wife who allows her husband to steal the limelight. Her passivity apparently masks her deep unhappiness with Donald, who has grown more distant from his wife as the years pass.
Mrs. Trump, if you can tell us, what was it like to vote for your husband today?
A very exciting day.
Were you very proud?
Of course, very proud. Great day.
When Donald made his first presidential bid, Melania was reportedly terrified at the prospect of her husband winning. An insider told Vanity Fair, "She never wanted this and never had any interest." That same year, sources spoke to Us Weekly claiming Melania was dissatisfied with life and feared leaving her apartment. An insider claimed, "Melania is unhappy with how her life ended up. She is miserable." As Donald grows older, experts say he and Melania will face more hurdles, with Melania potentially experiencing greater loneliness and isolation. That's not to say that the couple has ever been particularly close, though. Biographer Mary Jordan told The Guardian, "I don't know any couple that spends as much time apart." Though Jordan added that the Trumps' unusual dynamic seems to work, it's been claimed that the distant couple still engage in heated arguments. In 2019, witnesses told People magazine that Melania was visibly upset following an argument with Donald at Mar-a-Lago. Melania's rep denied the claims. Melania Trump was reportedly devastated when her beloved mother died in January 2024, aged 78. Her cause of death was not disclosed. On Instagram, Melania shared a photo of her mother and penned a poignant tribute, which read, On behalf of my family, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude for the love and support that you have showered upon us throughout this journey of loss and grief. We will cherish the beautiful memories of my beloved mother and forever keep her light in our hearts. Attending her mother's funeral with her father, Victor, husband Donald Trump, and son Barron Trump, Melania looked distraught and close to tears. In her eulogy, she reflected on how her mother had inspired her to become a model through her love of fashion.
She was not just a friend, but a confidant, a ray of light in the darkest of days.
From the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy to the attempted killing of Ronald Reagan, it seems that one unfortunate consequence of political success is the risk of being targeted by would-be assassins. Donald Trump is no exception, having suffered a bloody ear after dodging death during a televised rally in Pennsylvania. Appearing on Fox News, Donald revealed that a distraught Melania feared the worst following the shooting.
She can't really even talk about it.
Traumatized.
Which is okay, because that means she likes me.
No, she
or she loves me.
Interestingly, Donald had said in 2019 that his wife wouldn't cry her eyes out if someone made an attempt on his life, finding the idea of her distress inconceivable. In the aftermath of the assassination attempt, Melania condemned the shooter and claimed that her husband had been dehumanized in the eyes of his enemies. In a statement, she said, "When I watched that violent bullet strike my husband, Donald, I realized my life and Barron's life were on the brink of devastating change. A monster who recognized my husband as an inhuman political machine attempted to wring out Donald's passion. The core facets of my husband's life, his human side, were buried below the political machine."